If you are struggling through a breakup at the hands of a dismissive avoidant, then you're probably going through one of the most depressing and confusing times in your relationship history. And there's a really good reason for that. Avoidants, especially dismissive avoidants, often leave without giving you the decency of an explanation or any kind of closure. So we're forced to go online to try to figure out what the heck happened. That's when we are told that our avoidant abandoned us because of our low-value clingy behavior. It made them feel uncomfortable and we need to change. We're also told that avoidants have a tendency to always come back, sometimes years later, when they finally realize that we're the only people who ever made them feel comfortable. So basically, avoidants are so comfortable with you, that's why they keep coming back, but make sure that when they do come back, you've changed everything about yourself to fit their comfort, yet they're already so comfortable with you, that's why they're coming back. What? And no one is stopping to address the question that if anxious people are so low value, why do avoidants keep coming back? Hello, friends. My name is Maria, and one of the biggest problems I see in the world of anxious and avoidant relationships is anxious people are the only people providing value in relationships, and yet we're the only people who are told that we need to change everything about ourselves in order to achieve the coveted high-value status. This kind of insidious message tragically results in anxious or even secure people, the kind of people who would go out of their way to do loving things to support their partner. They are made to feel stupid for their caring behavior. They become bitter. They might even shut down acts of love completely. Or the worst case scenario, they begin to feel so neglected in dating that they become avoidant themselves. But if you want to learn how I know you've already achieved your high-value dating status, and maybe it's about time that avoidants begin proving themselves to you, then grab a bottle of nail polish and let's talk. The talking heads of YouTube love to tell anxious people that we are low value because we make ourselves far too available. They always offer some video game reference, like when your character finds an object that is scarce, it has more value. Well, that's great if you're playing World of Warcraft, but in real life, who the heck wants a partner who never answers their phone when you need them? How is avoidance making themselves scarce so valuable? Over the past couple of years, I've had quite a few avoidant attachers make comments on my videos. They say that anxious attachers are just as toxic as avoidants, and we all need to do the work to heal ourselves. But anxious people are healers. We are the ones doing the research, going online, desperately trying to heal ourselves, help our partners, and fix broken relationships. And it's peculiar why an avoidant would make a comment like that on this channel, a channel where I know anxious people like you are healing because you're clicking on these thumbnails. You are no longer romanticizing avoidance. You are tired of the BS and you're ready to begin moving forward. No one has an easy life. We all need to heal from something. And yeah, there's always room for improvement. The trouble is, it's easy for them to say we should all be doing it, except they aren't doing it. They're not even told to try to do it. You are the ones watching the videos, trying to learn more about attachment styles. And I have something to ask you that might sting a little bit. Sitting right where you are in this moment, if you were to ask this avoidant person that you are putting up on a pedestal, if they would be willing to watch one video on how to have a more functional relationship with you, do you believe in your heart that they would do it? Because if you are investing all of this attention and energy, and the answer to that question is a hard no, well, it might be time for you to lower down that high-value pedestal just a little bit. You are valuing this avoidant person more than you value yourself, and yet You are the only person that matters because you are the only person who's willing to do the work. I have a commenter, Leave a Sligo, who has also noticed that when it comes to the world of anxious and avoidant relationships, avoidants are touted as the valuable partner, and it's all on the anxious attacher to do all the work to change. Leva says, by the way, how many videos about relationships do we see that are like, how to get your anxious partner back, how to have a better relationship with your anxious partner, and how you, as an avoidant, should show up for your anxious partner? And also a note that it's kind of a fashion in social media nets to speak out about your avoidant tendencies and romanticize them as you wait for a companion. I am literally fed up by this misleading information. Yeah, you and me both. It's like the entire world encourages us to explain away avoidant behavior and wait for them because they are so darn valuable. But allow me to tell you how I know you are the valuable one, and your avoidant is going to miss you once it finally hits them that you're gone for good. I was once watching a business summit where rich and successful entrepreneurs, one by one, got up on stage and told personal stories about how they were able to make it big. One particular multimillionaire looked out into the audience and posed this question. When it comes to business partnerships, who do you want by your side? Someone who's been through 3 recessions, they've stuck it out, they're still around, and they've learned how to adapt and succeed in different kinds of environments? Or do you want a partner who hops in and out depending on what's going on in their life at the time, whenever it's convenient for them? And yeah, this was his real life word for word question. And he asked this question to an audience of thousands of people, and they all begin chuckling. Oh, silly rich businessman, of course we want the partner who sticks it through. And they laugh like it's such an easy answer. But I'm not convinced that when romantic feelings are involved, the answer is so glaringly obvious. And this is why in a lot of my videos, I try to take a romantic relationship and put that same dynamic into a parallel and platonic scenario, like a job or a friendship. Because when you look at it from that lens, well, the answer seems so simple. It's when romance is involved and emotions are high, we get lost and confused, and trust me, no one is laughing. That simple answer, we completely lose sight of it, and that's why there are hundreds of thousands of people clicking on videos every day about how to get a narcissist or an avoidant to regret leaving you. And no one stops to analyze if they really want this kind of a person with them in the future, in life, because life is going to hit recessions. And I am sure that the bedroom fun with your avoidant was phenomenal. And because you were probably the one that got ditched, you're also probably the one putting them up on a pedestal, and they look valuable and they look incredible. But welcome to the other half, where we know attraction is not just about looks. We also have to take care of the inner half. Because if we rush and we start clicking on videos on how to get someone back who makes us feel like crap, we're never going to get the time and the space to wonder what it is that we really want for our own future. If the day ever comes that they do come back to you, you'll think at first that, well, this is your dream come true, right? This is everything you ever wanted. Except it's going to become very hard for you to ever embrace this person without thinking, how could you do that to me? How could you just leave me like that? After everything that we went through together, after the things we said to each other, how could you think that anyone else out there or anything else out there was so much better than what we had together? And the relationship crumbles anyway, because it turns out what you really wanted was the person they pretended to be in the very beginning. Someone who was by your side, someone who was telling you that they loved you, not someone who brutally discards you and abandons you because life got a little bit tough. There is no value in that. I have another viewer who shared an excellent quote. Anojo says, "Never let anybody put a value on you because you are not going to like the number they come up with." Exactly. The biggest reason to never allow an avoidant to convince you that you have no value is because they don't have the ability to recognize things like people and relationships that are valuable. They don't get to dictate what is and what is not valuable because they have no idea what that is. Now, some of you out there might say, "Maria, you're being too mean." Certainly, avoidant people have value. Yeah, I agree with you. They sure do. Because the day you finally decide to ditch them is the day your life gets a whole lot better. Once you close the door on them, it reinforces in your brain that you are the kind of strong person who can do what needs to be done in order to protect yourself, your future, and the future of your children. Try to remember, if you are someone who's planning on having children, your children are your legacy, and you've got to be ruthless when it comes to protecting their happiness and mental health, because they're going to grow up and they're going to choose a partner, and they're probably going to have their own children together. What kind of relationships are we fostering for the future of the human race? And I know it sounds grand and perhaps overly dramatic, but think about this overly dramatic relationship you've been having with an avoidant person who I don't think has brought very much positivity into your life. And just so you know, another common theme that very rich and successful people talk about is they say, be very careful of who you choose to walk through life with you. Picking a partner is one of the most important decisions for your future you will ever make. So it sounds like who you choose could make a pretty dramatic impact on the rest of your life. You have so much value in your warmth and kindness and generous nature. Don't dump all of these things into an ungrateful black hole that's sucking the life force out of you, because your choices have so much more of a greater impact than simply, "I need to stay in this situationship," or "I'll have nothing to do on Saturday night." You must look at the bigger picture of life and ask yourself what is really valuable in the long run. You know, when people take their marriage vows, they stand up and they say, "I'll be there with you for better or for worse." And those are nice words to say, but now you have proof that you are the kind of person who is willing to stick it out during the hard times. We have all seen people from every attachment style go through moments where they begin to panic or they experience anxiety, and yet no one is telling them they're too needy or too clingy. You've got to see through this gaslighting, low value BS. You are not needy. You're not clingy. You're not low value. You are someone who is willing to stick things out. You're marriage material. And if you do ever decide to get married to someone who is excited to see you across the aisle, don't forget to send me an invitation. I'll save the date. My name is Maria Adriana. You did not have to live my life, but I certainly hope you can learn something from it. As always, thank you for visiting The Other Half.